1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no. Oh no. Oh yeah. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Oh yeah. Oh no. Hey, welcome back to Sonic Weekly, the show where we talk about Sonic the Hedgehog with friends every 7 days or so. My name is Grant. With us is Bo. Whoa! There's no Bo. No Bo. No Bo. We go without Bo. We'll check in with Bo and Rings of Saturn later at the halfway point of the episode like we usually do. But hey, guess who's here? Out of the shadows, into the spotlight. You know it. It's the star of the show, David the Lurker. Hi, David.
Whoa, hi, Grant, and hi, Bo in the future. That's right. We are Bo-less. He had to attend to one of his many Bo-rific things, but you'll hear him later in the show. He should be back next week. So if you're only here for Bo, I guess fast forward to Bo and we'll see you later.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what our demographics are. How many people are here for you? How many people are here for Bo? How many people are here for just Sonic?
Maybe they're here for a combination or the chemistry between the folks. Maybe it's not people here just for one or the other. I don't know. I don't know how these crazy people think.
Someone's listening.
Someone's listening. That's true.
They seem to like it.
God help them. Okay, so David,
yes.
We last week went through all of the news that we missed out on talking about from our 2-month, oh dear, hiatus, in which Sonic had a 35th anniversary celebration. A new small indie game collaboration was announced. Some other things happened. We didn't cover everything last week, so why don't we dive back in like Scrooge McDuck, but instead of it being coins, those are little morsels of Sonic information that we can take from channels like Tails Channel or Sonic Stadium or wherever you like, maybe even your own internet sleuthing.
Right. TSSC. Wait.
What happened this week in Sonic, David?
Oh, well, okay. Right. Let's talk about what happened this week. People want to know the top stories, the new stories. Then we'll dive into some old stories, as old as time itself. Top story this week would be, hey, there was a brand new Tails tube. Whoa.
Yeah.
Number 16, another Between Two Hedgehogs, featuring Amy Rose and Silver T Hedgehog. Now, Grant, did you sit down and watch it and memorize every word?
I did, in fact. I did do that. I like Silver, really like Amy, so I was interested to see how these characters might interact. I thought it was interesting to focus on the time travel component that they both share. And it was a fun little episode of Tails Tube and just digging around in the sandbox that is Sonic lore. I noticed that some discourse that I found browsing around online, some people were going back and forth about Silver's ability to time travel is, as he explains it, portals just appear. He doesn't know why. He doesn't know who's creating those portals. He doesn't know where he's going to end up when he goes through a portal. He just does it. And he is kind of defensive about, how dare you suggest that I would only do it if I knew that I was going to save the world. I would go through that portal no matter what.
It is. I guess I should commend them for trying to make sense of it, play with it. I did like how he initially said, I don't know how it works. But there is a part of me that kind of wonders if you should even bring up the portals. They could have just left it at, I don't know how I do it, but I do it. And that to me would have been funny. And some people would get mad at it still, I'm sure. Because, hey, that's not an explanation. But to me, that feels a bit more lighthearted, a bit funnier than him going into the whole portal thing. I understand what they were doing. I thought the beginning was fun, like the first joke of, oh, hey, I don't know how it happens. I don't know how it works. But then actually going deeper into a portal shows up and I just jump into it. I think I can understand the discourse there. It is a little flimsy. I'd almost rather they didn't acknowledge how it happens, just that it happens. The moment you try to then give an explanation, but the explanation isn't very helpful, that's where more of the friction comes. I'd rather it be a joke or just left on the table as opposed to starting and then not continuing on. It's possible it'll be picked up somewhere in a future comic or a game, but I think I'd rather they just leave it for that instead of trying to address it, but not. And even his time travel, that doesn't explain then where, like in the Rivals games, Eggman negative, he comes back in time. I don't think, jumped through a portal, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, I think I agree with what you are saying, David, because a non-answer is still an answer. And acknowledging something is a mystery, that definitely like makes it more of it just makes it so. You've now given it a name and a concept to think about. Like when we were coming up as young pups playing these games, there was mystery that there weren't answers to. And yes. I think that was really appealing. And I think as much as I enjoy these extra media additions and things like that, it does somewhat take away when it's like you can't put your own headcanon in quite as easily when it's replaced by sort of official canon. And the official canon is sometimes just like, no, there's no story there. Maybe there is someday, but for now, no story. None. Story whatsoever. So if you had some like thought in your head that like Silver knew what he was doing or just anything, he doesn't know.
No.
How dare you for asking?
How does he even know it's a time travel portal?
He doesn't.
It could take him to the center of the Earth. You don't know.
It could be a wormhole it could be a black hole.
Yeah. It could be a million things. And for Silver to just have faith, this must be a time travel portal.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, I think that's part of what they're doing with the Tails Tube as well, is that they're demonstrating those traits that we know Silver has through his various like official biographies through the years. Like we know that he's sometimes described as, very genuine and he's compared to Trunks from, not in official bios, but he's compared to Trunks by fans.
Yes.
So like they're kind of like, I'm trying to not say naive because I don't think that's quite right for Silver, but
no, it's a shade of naivete, but he's not completely naive to the world. There's, I'm not sure the best word there, but I know what you mean. I get what you're throwing.
Good, because it's not a good throw. There's not a good arc to the ball that I'm delivering right now. I should be giving you better balls, David. and the balls that I'm throwing are just bad spirals. They're bad change-ups, and I'm going to send them right down the middle a little better on the next item.
Yeah. But I will say, just very quickly, I did like Amy in it because she went, oh, hey, I thought Sonic was going to be here. And it seemed like a little bit of a nod to something that they kind of try to, I don't know if bury is the right word, but Amy and Sonic's dynamic, it's more than just, hey, we're friends. She has been into him, even if it's been one-sided romance. And to get even just a hint of that in, I thought Sonic was going to be here. I'm a little disappointed he's not. I like that.
You know what else I liked was I the only one kind of picking up on a little bit of a flirty vibe between Silver and Amy?
Oh, I think at the very end. Yeah.
Which I liked as well, because it's like, yeah, Amy's definitely got a crush on Sonic. That is, to me, it seems like her arc with that is like it was very intense when she was younger. And then as she progresses now in Frontiers, she's saying she wants to spread her love to the world. So given that this is a post-Frontiers Tails Tube, hey, maybe she's down to love Silver the Hedgehog. Who doesn't love Silver the Hedgehog? We're all dreaming of an absolution, and no one knows it like Silver.
That's true. And he's from the future. So that means he's got great stock tips. And it's not insider trading. It's just history.
Yeah. It's like Biff in Back to the Future Part 2.
Yes.
The hero of the movie.
Oh, yeah. He certainly doesn't resemble any other
real life figure.
No. Real life, historical or otherwise.
Yeah. What I like about real life is how it never becomes a twisted parody of parody.
No.
I like how that never happens.
No, not at all.
Not at all. I do think like an ironic death for me would be if like a hedgehog, if I died from a hedgehog related incident.
Oh, like you didn't know you were allergic to hedgehogs.
Right.
You went over to someone's house and they were like, hey, I've got a hedgehog. You want to hold it?
Yeah.
And you did. And then you died.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be it. So, yeah, I remember that there was between two hedgehogs with Sonic and Shadow.
Yes.
Which also had a little bit of a flirty vibe, some would say. And then now it's Amy and Silver. And again, a little bit of a flirty vibe.
Right. Now, what hedgehogs are left?
Breezy and Uncle Chuck.
Oh, if only.
Yeah.
I'd be into that episode.
I know.
You could have Metal Sonic and Mecha Sonic.
That's
and
true.
they just don't say anything the entire time.
Yeah, Metal Sonic and Classic Sonic. Two hedgehogs who don't talk.
Yeah. Just staring each other down for 6 minutes. And then Tails is like, wow, that was great.
They could have cameos from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and SpongeBob. Also silent.
Yeah.
Just waving silently.
Silent
blinking.
but deadly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be into it. So many possibilities. And we won't know until whenever the next one is. These aren't on any schedule, are they?
Tails Tube? I don't think so. They seem to be surprises when they arrive.
Yeah.
But they definitely happen like, once every couple of months or so. So I would assume that we'll probably see, I would guess we'll see one more Tails Tube before the end of the year, even if it's like a holiday one in November or December. I would reckon, I would bet they've got another. But, I don't know why, like, because we know, I guess, but there doesn't need to be a why, right? Like they sometimes they like this was just because it's not like this is connected to Sonic Frontiers Definitive Edition on Nintendo Switch 2. It's not connected to a direct product. It is just sort of advertising the brand and really, frankly, sort of deep lore characters like Silver. Amy makes sense in general because she's main character and they've elevated her in the last couple of years. And we know that she's going to be a big part of movie 4 as teased by the end of movie 3.
Yes.
And Amy and Silver, fans have, connected the time travel angle with them as being like, oh, that isn't like, why doesn't Silver use time stones? It's like a somewhat common fan conversation. And so that's what's happening a lot with Tails Tube. And it makes sense that the framing of it is Tails has a YouTube channel because it is the Sonic brand doing what Sonic fans like us would do on our shows of making content, which is just like, hey, why doesn't we would speculate, why doesn't Silver use the time stones? And then we would go, I don't know, maybe this or that, maybe he just jumps through the portals, or maybe we'd spin some other idea up. But now there's an official answer, kind of a quasi answer. It's an answer. It's an answer, even though it's like an incomplete idea. It's still an answer. And there's room for story to be laid later. If somebody wants to one day decide that there's a story where there's a portal master and they're bringing together all of the different universe, like that could happen. That doesn't mean that's every portal or whatever. What we were learning was about Silver's character. Silver blindly trusts himself and the goodness of the universe to arc toward justice. And he's always assuming he is not jumping into a black hole and about to disintegrate all of his atoms instantaneously in what would be excruciating, indescribable pain.
Yeah. Unless that's what happens in Sonic Rivals 3.
We can't say for sure.
We can't. But what we can say is there are other news stories. Not a whole lot otherwise happened this week. There's still rumors about Sonic the Hedgehog showing up in Fortnite. I feel like we've talked about this before.
Yes, but it has changed. The rumor mill on it has changed. There's more smoke, and it seems to indicate there is indeed a fire somewhere of Sonic and Fortnite. But how, David? How? Proportionally, how?
Proportionally. Do you think they would give Sonic stilts?
It's possible. I mean, that's one way to do it. Right? That's how they've done it with shorter characters like Bart Simpson or Morty from Rick and Morty. Sonic, they also have pets as these, sort of cats or dogs, but I think they can be other monsters at this point, and probably branded characters. But you could have like a 3-foot Sonic just sort of running around, and maybe that's what that could be a way that they go. But it's still, that's not really what people want. Like what we all want, we being anybody who plays Fortnite and wants Sonic, you want the guy in the mascot costume.
Yes.
I think that's the best thing I think that's the best you can get.
Yeah. He was in the Olympic Games, the official Tokyo 2020.
Exactly.
I have a fondness for the mascot costume. If I were Fortnite, if I was a video game, I would have every Sonic mascot costume that's ever been made officially. Those would be all the alternate skins.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
If you had your druthers and just like endless resources and money, you would have every Sonic mascot costume in like a hallway, like Batman has in the first Batman movie. Where he walks in and it's like, whoa, this guy must have been king of the Wicker people. You would have been like, actually, that is a Sonic costume from Sydney, Sega World.
Yeah, that would be cool. But then if you're being Batman, does that mean you have like one Tails mascot costume by itself under glass? And you were like, yeah,
yes, you would. Yeah, with the bloodstained head, the whiskers, the white whiskers.
Oh no,
tinges of red on the sides.
How sad.
Very sad. But that's why there's been 3 Tails. Or 4 Tails now that he's got a biological son Tails.
Right. But then they never talk about the 5th Tails. It's only there for an arc.
Right. When Cream the Rabbit was Tails.
Yeah. She was like, I can be it. I can do the voice. And Sonic was like, no.
While we're mixing Sonic and Batman, did you happen to read DC X Sonic the Hedgehog, Metal Legion #4? It came out this week. Did you get a chance to read it?
I haven't had the chance yet. No, right. It came out today, and not to spoil when we record these things. And I did not go to the comic shop where it would be, because I buy these things physically.
We talked about this before, and basically the same thing happened. And I think what we resolved is that we'll just talk about that series when it concludes. But generally, are you liking it?
I have been enjoying it, yeah.
I think it's been even more fun than the first one, because it's more fun the like deeper the references go, and then how the first one, Darkseid is the villain.
Yes,
and that's cool. Darkseid's cool.
Yeah,
and he makes sense as like a villain that would be enough of a threat to need all of these heroes. But then the second one is like, well, the universes are just linked now, and so Lex Luthor and Dr. Eggman as 2 nefarious, bald, robotic, evil scientific geniuses team up and start working together in cahoots, and then working against each other in cahoots, and then hilarity and plot ensues.
Yes.
It's been great fun.
It has been. I think in a previous episode, maybe before we went on break, I was like, I had a brief complaint about the end of the second issue, but issue 3 resolved all of that immediately, because the place that they were all sent to, just brief spoilers, fast forward
2 minutes
if you want. They were in null space at the end of issue 2, and I was like, why is that an issue? You got out very easily. But in issue 3, they are like, we're here, but this is just a minor setback. We're all going to get out of here in a second. And by the end of the issue, they did. So that resolved itself. I was glad that they didn't make it melodramatic, but I shouldn't have thought they were going to do that based on every other issue that's happened in this series.
Sometimes we fall for a cliffhanger here or there.
Yeah.
And this series, because it's so cartoony, but this sounds stupid, but here we go. Because it's both cartoony and comic booky, and I know you know the distinction that I'm making, not only David, but you, the listener. Because it's both cartoony and comic booky, there are stakes that feel both goofy and real simultaneously. Ian Flynn is very, very good at threading that needle in the script. And it can make the stakes feel like, especially if you know both universes like we do, make you think like, oh my God, this how could anybody get out of such a predicament? And then the first page of the next issue is like, oh yeah, easily, very easily, because Silver went back in time, because Sonic raced around the world, because the Master Emerald is magic, because of anything. Because it's a comic book, because it's a made up story, because we can do whatever we want.
Yeah. You don't have to understand it as long as they understand it. The only thing I understand is the concept of love.
Concept of love.
Yes, we will dive deeper once all 5 are out.
Only 5 issues, is that right? So we're
I believe so. It's the same as last time.
Cool.
But speaking of crossovers, this is just a brief little thing that appeared on Twitter.com.
Twitter.com. No, it's not what it's called. I'm becoming increasingly pedantic about this.
Yeah.
Twitter is dead.
Twitter is
replaced
dead.
by X.
Yeah.
X is now the husk.
The husk.
And sometimes things are there.
Well, the site formerly known as Twitter, there was a tweet because it was the anniversary of the Sonic and OKKO crossover episode, and Ian Jones Quarty, is that how you pronounce it? Yeah. Yep. Made a tweet. Post, right? It is formerly known as. Just giving a little bit of insight into the gestation of the idea, and that initially it was pitched as being a crossover with the Sonic Boom sub-franchise, as opposed to Sonic as a general concept.
Interesting.
Yeah. He followed up by saying it like that version of it didn't get very far. Nothing in the episode that was released had anything to do with the idea of it crossing over with Sonic Boom, but that is where it started. And I guess that makes sense because Cartoon Network was airing Sonic Boom.
Yeah, at that time, both were airing.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
It does.
It's almost a little strange that it's not Sonic Boom, that it's just like Game Sonic. We're much happier that it is Game Sonic.
Yes.
And it was done so perfectly in that OKKO episode. But in terms of corporate synergy, you would think it would be Sonic Boom.
Yeah. I guess by that point, the writing was on the wall. Sonic Boom was dead.
Yeah.
But that means we did miss out on seeing like 2D animated versions of the Sonic Boom characters.
Yeah. Let's do one more news story before we throw to Rings of Saturn, and we'll save some of the rest of it for next week. But I think we're starting to get thin.
Well, I mean that's the stuff that's happened this. You know what? Okay,
there's a couple things. There's a couple things. You're right.
There are a couple things. If we're gonna reach into what we missed, I feel like we should mention it. This is what I'm going to pick. And whether we do more news stories after we talk to Bo or whatever, we'll figure that out in a second.
Okay.
I wanted to bring up the TJ Davis Kickstarter because it's time sensitive and at some point it won't be a thing anymore.
Yeah, I think I've sort of seen a little bit of it. Let me see if if I know what it is, but you please correct me if I'm wrong and tell me the full extent of it. TJ Davis, she sang the Sonic R songs and has released a few Sonic Frontiers cover songs, which sound great. And it wants to do a full EP of all of them and is doing a Kickstarter. Is that correct?
Yeah. So it was launched on the 17th of July. Yeah, it is for an EP of Sonic Frontiers covers. It's 4 covers and 1 original song. The original song, which just came out, but of course I didn't write it down because it happened after I wrote all these notes. Half of Me, that was the most recent track that came out. The Kickstarter launched with her cover of I'm Here. The week after that was a cover of One Way Dream, which was also arranged and produced by Bentley Jones.
Hey,
so some Sonic DNA there. Yeah, and there's 2 more that are meant to come out. These are the 5 songs that would be on the EP, so they've already been recorded and mixed and produced. The Kickstarter is for just it being released physically, or being able to get it digitally. You know, that fun stuff. Where are we at? The goal is £15,000 UK. It's at 13,582. There are some stretch goals as well. One of them being, if they hit £50,000, she would do a Sonic R reimagined, like doing all the Sonic R songs, but now. I don't know if they're gonna, if that's gonna be hit, but
you've got a week basically from when you hear this episode until the Kickstarter ends. So act now if you want to support TJ Davis.
Right. It wraps on August 16th. So, why not? Why not throw a few bucks? A few bucks at TJ Davis. If you've ever enjoyed Sonic R, if you've ever enjoyed the Sega Saturn, if you've ever enjoyed the UK, I don't know.
I don't know now. I feel like you unsold me on it. Now I'm like, I don't know how much, I don't know how I fight. But I do love TJ Davis and her work. I kind of want to throw this out as a thing we'll talk about later, which is Sonic and the Blade of Courage.
Yes.
The English translation is only on an app, at least for right now. So that's a little bummer. And Sonic X Godzilla came out. I know people in particular know, David the Lurker fans know that David the Lurker knows his Godzilla facts. We've mentioned this on the show before. We will come to that at some point. There's also the 35th anniversary special. So there's IDW in general, and we want to do more IDW talk at some point. So I'm just saying I want to get into that. And maybe even with the Shadow Files, it's just speaking of comics in general. We have a whole comics pile really, really, really to get into.
Yes.
But the very last news story I think that we could cover for this week is that Wendy's is doing a card promotion. 7 sets, 5 cards each, 35 total cards. The 7 characters they chose are interesting. So you go Sonic, obvious. Tails, Knuckles, Amy, that's 4. Those are the top 4. Shadow, Rouge, Sonic Adventure 2 cast. Well, that's 6. 7. Who's your 7th top Sonic character? And who would you think it would be? I would say you would think it would be Dr. Eggman.
Yeah, he's the villain. You need someone to fight.
But let's say it couldn't be. Let's say it had to be a furry. Who's 7?
Well, I know what they picked, but I don't know if that would be necessarily who I'd pick. That's what I'm trying to think. Right. Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy.
Shadow Rouge.
I don't think it'd be Omega. I feel like it'd be one of the Chaotix, like Vector, maybe.
Okay. So they went with Silver, which I love. I love Silver. But it is interesting that it's not Blaze.
Yeah, Blaze is also a good one.
Big the Cat is a fun character that people love. One of the robots would make a lot of sense too. Omega, Metal Sonic, maybe even Gamma. But no, Silver the Hedgehog. His stock is rising. Wendy's says Silver is a star to look out for. Tails Tube says Silver is a star to keep an eye out on, dropping through portals. Silver the Hedgehog. We haven't talked about Silver the Hedgehog too much on this podcast. I want to talk about Silver the Hedgehog more, David.
We should have a dedicated Silver episode. Is there somebody out there in the fan-o-sphere that is a huge Silver the Hedgehog fan that would want to jump onto this podcast and chat up Silver with us?
Or you can also just write in a question. SonicWeeklyPodcast@gmail.com is the way to get in touch. Either way, we'd love to hear from you, talk with you in whatever way you're comfortable talking about. Silver the Hedgehog.
Right.
Well, what do you think, David? Should we rocket ship to outer space?
I think so. I guess I should just quickly mention the Wendy's cards. It's the same cards that were out in the UK a couple months ago, but they're here now.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know.
The Sonic fan that's doing a lot of international travel, maybe.
That's right. It ties into TJ Davis, maybe? I don't know.
It ties in it. Sorry.
I better jump on that rocket, otherwise I'm going to miss it. I'm already late.
Rings of Saturn.
Rings of Saturn this week is looking at the Saturn game Lupin III, Sage of the Pyramid. This is a Japanese exclusive game, which is the only real playable Lupin III game for Saturn. There are a few other multimedia discs and such, but this one is actually a 3D adventure that you can control. I found a cheat code for this game that is pretty extensive. You can unlock the extra difficulty modes and the extra costumes and characters with a button sequence at the title screen. And then after you do that, you can do this elaborate dance where you set 7 different configuration items to particular values and then enter a 34 button cheat code sequence. And once you do this, you can unlock the final character, the Princess of Twilight. Not the Twilight Princess that Zelda fans are familiar with, but the Princess of Twilight, who is this ethereal ghost girl who appears throughout the game guiding Lupin through the pyramid. As far as I know, this character was not documented as being playable in this game at all, and it's a one-off character that doesn't appear anywhere else in the Lupin the Third series. So if you didn't know about this and you're excited about it, let me know. I don't know the Lupin the Third franchise a whole lot, but it seemed pretty cool to me. There will be more Rings of Saturn stuff throughout the week coming up. Some PlayStation, some Dreamcast. I feel on a hot streak with finding stuff, so I'm going to pump out as many articles as I can. Thanks, and back to the show.
David, I've got a fun game for you.
Yes.
I've prepared a fun game for you to play.
Uh-oh.
And the audience can play along. And,
Whoa!
And maybe I'll even, offer a little commentary. But basically, I'm going to present to you moments, key moments, not just games, but key moments, titles, motion pictures, what have you, that are inflection points for the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. And what I'm wondering is, are these a comeback or a faker back?
A comeback or a faker back? Okay.
So Sonic has had his ups and downs, right?
True.
So the fact that he keeps getting back up means he's had a number of comebacks. But the fact that he's also gone down means he's had some times that he thought were going to be a comeback, but was in fact a faker back.
True. The illusion of this is it. This is what's going to get us back into the spotlight. Perhaps like certain 1970s Beach Boy albums. You think the Beach Boys are finally going to get back into the spotlight? Definitely not happening. Forget about it.
Are you saying that because I look a little bit like a Beach Boy today with my shirt? I'm very self-conscious of it, but I'm like, I kind of look like a Beach Boy with my shirt and hair today.
I wasn't going to say anything, but it does have a little...
There's a bit of a Beach Boy thing.
It's a bit of a Beach Boy thing. Yeah. Yesterday I watched a YouTube video by Mike the Snare about the Beach Boy discography. So I have Beach Boys on the brain at the moment.
Do you think I'm more like Brian Wilson or Mike Love?
I'll go with the former. I don't think anyone really wants to be Mike Love.
That's true, baby. Nobody does. We'd all much rather be the tortured genius.
Of course.
Okay, so when is the first time that Sonic needs a comeback? So we start with Sonic 1.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hit.
Oh, yeah. I was being like, oh, that's just a back. No, that's just a come. That sounds weird. It just is.
That's just come on the back. That's a quote from David the Lurker. No. So Sonic 1, followed up by Sonic 2.
Yes.
Huge hit. Even bigger hit.
Mm-hmm.
So...
momentum.
Big momentum. Kind of a year off with Sonic CD and then Sonic Spinball and the Game Gear games. Still, we're doing good. Sonic 3, Sonic and Knuckles, all-timers. 94, huge, great year. 95.
Mm-hmm.
Now that was a pretty high peak.
Yeah.
Now what are we going to do? Uh-oh. So here we come to our first question. Sonic 3D Blast. Is this the comeback that we need for Sonic to come roaring back and compete with Super Mario 64 and establish 3D games on the Genesis to put Donkey Kong Country to shame? Or is it a faker back made by a different studio and an imitation of a better thing?
Right. Well, this is outside of whether or not I like the game, because I do. I enjoy Sonic 3D Blast quite a bit. I was immensely excited for it. But if we're simply looking at it from, is it a comeback or the faker back?
Yeah.
I have to go with the latter, because Sonic Extreme was meant to be the comeback.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not it was going to be is something we can debate till the end of time, but 3D Blast was not it. And in the context of 1996, everyone wants a true 3D game. Mario's there, Crash Bandicoot's there. Sonic 3D Blast is not what the market wanted, and unfortunately, I'd have to throw it in the faker back category.
Faker back it is. Sonic 3D Blast does not bring the series back. So 95 and 96 down years, and it doesn't get better. But then, you know what the next one is. In 1998 and then 99 in the North American markets, Sonic Adventure launches with the Sega Dreamcast. Sonic Adventure. Yahoo! Sonic Adventure. Is that a comeback or a faker back? Voice acting, not synced. Physics, sometimes. Story, you betcha. Reused locations, how'd you notice? Is it a false comeback, a faker back, or is it the true return of the king?
When it was released in the United States, I would say that has to be a comeback. The Dreamcast, people do forget this, but when the Dreamcast was released in the United States, it was, what is the terminology? 1990, it was the single biggest day of money. That is not the way to describe it.
I know what you're talking about, though. But
yes. Yeah. Like the Dreamcast and all the games and all the peripherals, like one thing being released on a day, it made the most money.
It was the most successful entertainment launch of any entertainment product, period, outright.
Yes,
in like a 24-hour period.
Yeah, like bigger than Star Wars Episode 1, which came out that same year. It was monumental. Of course, over the years, it's been beaten many times over. It is nowhere near the record holder anymore. But at the time, it was. And simply because of that, and Sonic Adventure was a big part. It was the best-selling game on the system. I'd have to make it a comeback. It was a brief, shining moment. It wasn't a comeback over in Japan. They didn't care in the first place about Sonic. Let's be honest. But in the US, one brief moment, yes, that was a true comeback. It was even at the VMAs.
Yeah, you're right. 99.99.
Yeah.
The VMAs hosted by Chris Rock that year. How could I forget? Well, you say it's a brief moment in time, and yet it's not long until the sequel, Sonic Shuffle. No, until the actual sequel, Sonic Adventure 2 releases.
Yes.
Makes a bigger splash, half the staff. Is it a faker back or a comeback? After just a brief year off. And yet things are very different for Sega and the Dreamcast by the time Sonic Adventure 2 rolls around, and Sonic's place in the game market. So Sonic Adventure 2 / Sonic Adventure 2 Battle.
Yeah.
Comeback or faker back?
I mean, I guess to me, I think this is going to be controversial, but especially when it was released on the Dreamcast, I might have to say it was a faker back because the Dreamcast was already dead in the water and it did nothing to save it. If that game had somehow sold an incredible amount, maybe Sega would have changed their minds. I think they had already discontinued production of the system at that point.
I think so.
But if there was a titanic shift and suddenly everyone needed a Dreamcast because they needed Sonic Adventure 2, they would have found a way to start production back up. Sega would have changed its strategy. Bing, bang, boom, Sonic baby. But that's not what happened. Yeah. It was successful on the GameCube. So maybe Sonic Adventure 2 Battle is in some ways a comeback, but also that it appealed to people who hadn't played Sonic in a long time. So, or who hadn't, like, they missed out on the Dreamcast, or they had never played a Sonic game before because they were a Nintendo kid.
Yeah.
I'd call it a half of a comeback if we want to get funny.
Yeah. Okay.
On the GameCube, but definitely not. It would have to be a faker back on the Dreamcast.
Next up, Nintendo first Sonic game, Sonic Advance.
Yep.
This and Sonic Heroes are kind of a little bit of a same. I think, are they the same year? Let me double check.
Which one? Advance, you said?
Sonic Advance, because now we're at 2002.
Right, Advance came out.
And then Heroes is 2004.
In the US. So, it was the end of 03, beginning of 04, and Advance came out like at the same time as 2 Battle. Or it came out, so that was like tail end of 01, beginning of 02. There's some time.
So Sonic Advance is the first time that a modern style 2D game for the Sonic series is released, and not only released, but also released on a Nintendo, only for a Nintendo platform, for the Game Boy Advance, beginning the Sonic Advance trilogy. Amy is playable for the first major time in the 2D series. It's kind of the game that establishes Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy as like this is the core for like they came out of the 16-bit era, and here they are in the 16-bit handheld, which is the Game Boy Advance. And it's kind of like the Sonic games you remember. Not really. It's made by a different team, but do you think that counts as a comeback, or is that a faker back?
I have a hard time thinking of Advance being part of it at all. Advance is, especially back then, the handheld titles were always thought of as, oh, this is the secondary series, this is the minor series, this is a way to keep the brand afloat, especially since Battle came out at around the same time.
The next year, or 2 years later.
What?
2004.
Well, 2004 was Heroes.
And Battle. Oh, you're sorry. You're saying Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. That's 2002.
Yeah,
Sonic Adventure 2 Battle for the Game Boy Advance comes in 2004.
No, so Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, that would have taken up all the hype of Sonic is back. And like I said, I think on the GameCube, it was half of a comeback, which means Advance just rode on the coattails of Sonic and Nintendo. But I wouldn't call Advance by itself a comeback. But I also feel like calling it a faker back is disingenuous because it never positioned itself as being the next big thing. It was a complementary game.
Yes, but I would say even though it was complementary in a home console first view, which I think most fans did have, it was a comeback for a style of the franchise that they'd already discarded by the time of Sonic and Knuckles. This is the first game since Sonic and Knuckles to be this style of 2D spinning sign at the end.
That's true.
And then speaking of that style of game, is later that year, November 2002, is Sonic Mega Collection, which is the first time all of the classic games are available outside of Sega platforms or PC. So the first time they're on Nintendo, Sony, or Microsoft hardware.
Yeah. Wait, are you asking then if that collection is a comeback?
Yeah. We're just going through all of 2002. Sonic Advance, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, and Sonic Mega Collection. I guess that's a more consequential year than I was initially giving it credit for.
Yeah. No, I don't. Because at that point, it is asking like, oh, is every next game meant to be a comeback? Is every next release?
Here's the thing: is like that doesn't necessarily it's that the answer doesn't have to be yes. And it's not.
No,
because our last high point was Sonic Adventure.
Right, Adventure, or for the GameCube faithful, Adventure 2. But yeah,
Adventure
I wouldn't.
2 Battle, it gets a little
Adventure 2 Battle.
Half.
So I wouldn't call Advance a comeback. Yeah. Mega Collection, like that's also a faker back because it's not a comeback. It just is.
Okay.
Yeah, it just is.
Then let's jump ahead to Sonic Heroes in 2004. This is another reinvention of the series. This is a reintroduction of the entire cast up until this point, and pretty much cementing the main cast to this day for the hero side. There, aside from Blaze and Silver, there's not many other characters who you could think that would add to the Sonic Heroes core 12. Because you've got Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles as Team Sonic. Shadow, Rouge, and the new character Omega as Team Dark, Amy Rose, Cream the Rabbit, Big the Cat as Team Rose, and then Team Chaotix being reintroduced and revised from the Knuckles Chaotix game. So Sonic Heroes, it's a revamp. Is it a comeback or a faker back?
Ooh. There's a third choice now, a revamp.
It is a revamp. Like there's no argument that it is revamping what came before. But do you think that is a comeback for the series, or is Sonic Heroes? Longtime listeners know that Sonic Heroes is the anchor that drops Bo and I off of the franchise for a while.
Yeah. And I mean, it also, I also fell off a bit.
Did you?
The two of you fell off a lot longer. But when it came out, I didn't buy Shadow the Hedgehog when it came out. I didn't buy Sonic 06 when it came out. I was off for a little bit, even though I was still paying attention to what was happening.
Okay.
So I feel like with Heroes, for people who had been there since the beginning, definitely a faker back. But it would be remiss for me not to mention that it was a lot of people's first Sonic game, and it may have introduced them to the series. But then any Sonic game is that way. Heroes was not the comeback because it was supposed to prove that Sonic could work outside the ecosystem of Sega. The rest were all ports. The rest were all collections. This was the first new one, having to restate that Sonic Team was important in the full scheme as a third party. I don't think it did it, even though it was successful enough. It wasn't the comeback. It didn't make people go, yes, Sonic is back, and it's just as good as Metal Gear or something.
Well, this is what's commonly known as like the dark period, right? Because 2004 is followed by 2005, where Shadow the Hedgehog releases to universal disdain.
Yep.
And Sonic Rush releases on the Nintendo DS to universal acclaim. But do you view Sonic Rush as a comeback, or is that also a faker back?
I guess to me, it feels like a faker back. If it doesn't mean it's bad. It's a good game. It's a fun game.
It's just that it's on the DS.
It's on the DS. It's not saying Sonic is back and Sonic is culturally relevant. It's saying we can still make a good Sonic game, but it's not going to be on the main consoles. People are going to look at it differently. And for some people, unfortunately, it can be seen as disposable.
Yeah.
A lot of the handheld titles, I think, even though they're not, and with modern eyes and reflecting back a lot more, a lot of people are like, oh, I can reassess, and just handheld gaming in general is a lot more important than people wanted to give it credit. But
yeah, no, that's a totally valid and real perspective on it of exactly what you're saying. Okay, so we practically really need to skip ahead then to 2008, because there's no arguments to be made for 2006.
No.
There's no arguments to be made for 2007. That like Sonic and the Secret Rings, admittedly, for me, it was a faker back, because I was done after the Dreamcast, but I got a Wii. I was like, a Sonic game. Okay. But it's okay. It has very long tutorials, and you're playing it you can't just play it normally, with a normal controller. You have to play it with the silly Wiimote style, and it's okay, but it's not a true return to glory. And to your point about the mobile games, because that same year is also Sonic Rush Adventure, another quality game, but it's like if the quality games are only coming out on the sort of secondary platform market, then you're just admitting outright that you're losing status. How could it be a comeback if you're basically just taking the humble pie route? So then we have to look to 2008, Sonic Unleashed. Yes. This is another revamp, another Sonic team pulling up the britches and saying we're going to put in the effort this time. We're going to go all out.
All out. And I feel like for a Sonic fan, for a lot of Sonic fans, I would say Unleashed might be a comeback because of the daytime stages, because of the production value, but because of the Werehog, because of people still feeling burned from 06, and Black Knight was announced, and they went, hey, there's a Sonic with a sword. It didn't bring Sonic back to prominence. It didn't restore the brand to its former glory in the general sense, in the not for the Sonic fan, not for people who are like, oh, I was burned by 06, but Unleashed is what fixes it. If we're talking non-nuanced general audience, Unleashed is a faker back.
Yeah, I think you're right. To me, I think to the general audience perspective, Unleashed is just more of the same baloney.
Yeah, unfortunately.
It's like, what are they doing? Sonic's a werehog now? They have lost the plot. That is how I think they look at it. So then you have Sonic Colors the next year. Nintendo Wii. Another return to form type of game, more scaled back, but a lot of people's favorite and a highlight in terms of reviews. and acclaim at the time. But modern eyes, particularly since the re-release of Colors Ultimate, have been less appreciative of Colors.
Yeah.
And, sort of see it as kind of like hollow and like maybe it was good compared to being in a sea of garbage, but it's kind of like just very average.
Mm-hmm.
So that, there's a case to be made either way for comeback or faker back.
Right. I would say at the time, though, it was perceived as a comeback. It was back to basics. You're just playing Sonic. Look at him. He's going fast. And it was on the Wii, and the Wii was the biggest video game system around. I know it's not where there were plenty of people who went, oh, the Wii is not where the hardcore gamers are. They're on the 360 or the PS3. But from a general gaming sense, I would have to say Colors is a comeback.
Okay.
Yes, even with people looking back on it and not feeling the love at the time. We're going to talk about it in context, in historical context.
The next year, Sonic does come around to the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 with Sonic Generations.
Mm-hmm.
Comeback or faker back there?
I feel like it's not the same sort of comeback as Colors was. It did well. It had decent reviews.
This is the first time I disagree with you. This is the first one where
yeah.
I think the general audience is like, oh, now they I could see people being like, oh, Sonic was only good in the 90s.
In the 90s.
And Sonic Generations.
I guess a lot of people do. You know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe.
I think because it's on PS3, because it's on 360, because it's finally giving that audience a high quality, high definition, high resolution, good looking graphics Sonic game.
The legitimacy being restored. You know what? Yeah, you're right. I am going to change my answer to match you. Whoa.
I have successfully lawyered David the Lurker.
Yeah, no, because I was sort of on the fence.
You were on the fence.
I was on the fence. I was like, I don't know. But no, you're right. Like, Colors and Generations was a 1-2 punch. Colors could have been seen as a fluke. Generations made it clear, no, this can be the direction of the franchise, which didn't continue.
No. In fact, we have to start turning the calendar forward quite a bit to come to even like the next point in which it's a real question, because 2012 is just Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 2. Yep. Nobody's going to really... I guess you could ask, is that a comeback for the Sonic the Hedgehog 4 sub-series? It sort of is. But of course, it's really a faker back because it's Sonic the Hedgehog fucking 4.
Right.
2013 is Sonic Lost World and Sonic Dash.
Right. Dash still exists. They still add characters to it.
Yep.
About 10 billion people have downloaded it.
It may be the most popular Sonic anything ever made.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd call that a comeback, though. It just is.
Yeah, it just is. I don't want to say, like, it doesn't deserve to be called slop, because anything that's not AI is not slop.
Right.
But it is a mobile game. And that...
It's Temple Run.
Yeah.
A very successful version of Temple Run.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lost World, if anyone was like, hey, yeah, this is a comeback or it's continuing the momentum. No, Lost World, I think that would have to be a faker back. But I don't know if it ever poised itself. No, I don't think it did.
I would say perhaps it poised itself as a comeback to the Nintendo audience because it was part of that exclusivity deal.
Yeah.
To link Sonic and Nintendo closer together, which leads us to the Sonic Boom franchise.
Yeah.
A deliberate attempt to reinvigorate the long-running Sonic the Hedgehog series with a new fresh coat of paint and a new subsection, a new sub-series with a new TV show and its own set of games from a different set of developers than Sonic Team. New looks for the characters. Sonic has got blue arms for the very first, but not the last time. And the last time so far, he wears a scarf.
Yep. But don't call it a comeback. It's the opposite of what a comeback is.
Yeah.
They had
Doesn't mean
hopes.
it's not good. Doesn't mean it's not good.
Right.
In terms, especially the TV show. Which,
yes.
Yeah. Where they're fans of.
Yeah. Because you have to look at it right from the general audience perspective, from the Sonic Boom show did well. A lot of fans, like you said, we're fans of it too. But as a whole, I mean, there's a reason we never got a second mainline game. There were 2 handheld titles and no OKKO crossovers. Sonic Boom. That's the true faker back.
Yeah. And then arguably, I would say the true comeback is the next entry in our series, 2017, Sonic Mania.
Sonic Mania. Yeah, I'd have to agree there. It had the best reviews of a Sonic game in decades, better than Colors and Generations, better than like the best since Sonic Adventure, right? It was that much acclaim. It was released digitally. It did so well that they released a physical version.
Yep.
That was in an era before that happened a lot.
But Sonic Mania is always paired with something else. Not only when it goes physical, I don't know that you can find many copies of... you can get Sonic Mania just on its own physically, but often they were putting it in part of a 2-pack with Team Sonic Racing as well, or a 3-pack with Sonic Forces, which came out 2 months later.
Yeah.
Which
Mania,
is definitely not a comeback.
No. Mania did a lot. Did a lot for the brand. It did a lot for the motivation to make good Sonic games, I think. Like it kicked off a whole era. And without Mania, I don't know where Sonic would be right now.
Yeah, I don't know either, because IDW Sonic, Sonic Movie 1.
Yeah.
Well, let's take those each individually. IDW Sonic is which year, actually?
I think that started in 2017.
Yes, or 2018, actually.
Oh, it started. Okay.
Yeah. So IDW Sonic would be after Sonic Mania and Sonic Forces. And that is...
Yeah, you're right.
Pretty clearly a comeback from, again, just Archie ended. That was unfortunate. So then what's going to happen with Sonic comics that had been ongoing for so long? Well, they rebooted it, but they kept most of the exact same creative team. And then worked it into the Sega canon way more closely with the Sega oversight.
Yeah. If you're a comic diehard, it is a comeback. But for the overall perception of the brand, no. Like in that sense, it's a faker back, if only because Sonic is a game franchise. And even at that point. But I know you're going to
wrestle you on this. Oh, keep going. Go ahead.
Right. No, because I was going to say, like, the public perception definitely shifts once the movies start coming out. And even though Sonic's always been multimedia. You've had the various TV shows, you had, the anime, all the comics. Once the Sonic movie comes out and people go, oh, Sonic can be a movie, and the movie isn't bad, it's surprisingly well done. The perception of Sonic, I think, does shift into that more general multimedia. Here we go.
You're right, except for Sonic Movie 1 is probably the biggest Sonic comeback straight out. Like in terms of having the most impact on the general audience. Sonic Movie 1 being legitimately pretty good is a big thing. But there's a component to it that what makes it good is this insistence on what fans love about Sonic, which comes from IDW Sonic. Tyson Hesse emerges from the comics world to then become a producer and help redesign the Sonic design for the movie. And I think IDW Sonic, it had to be IDW Sonic and not Archie Sonic, because Archie Sonic was so its own thing, which I love. We love it for its own reasons because it's so weird and strange and beautiful and odd and just very unique and idiosyncratic. But IDW Sonic was way more cementing the brand of like, this is why you like this character. And they've done a really good job of like making Sonic a comic character that's accessible to lots of new audiences. They've been collecting in hardcover, in trades, in smaller trades, way better than Archie ever did for the series. And I think that just went a long way to being like, there is quality Sonic product. It's not always the games, but the comics have been long running. And look, you can actually pick it up, read it. It's pretty good.
Right. It's always there, nonstop, every month. You're right about the collections. IDW has been so much better about how they do it. The order they put everything in, the formats, the availability. I know the first issue of IDW Sonic, I think is technically the best selling Sonic issue, but that takes into account not just the physical, the floppy, but the digital sales, and I think also all the collections. I'm not entirely sure where the number comes from, but IDW did make the claim this is the best-selling Sonic comic.
I would believe it.
I don't think it's the best-selling single floppy issue because comics are in a different place now than they were back in the 90s. But as a whole, counting the hardbacks, counting the trade paperbacks, counting digital sales, yes, that makes sense to me. Best-selling. And I can't discount the importance, especially the team involved and, Tyson Hess being, on the ground floor and that launching him into where he is now. But I guess I just think about the division between comic books and everything else, even though comics are an important medium and I love comic books.
I know you do.
But if you're having like a conversation with someone, like a general audience member about Superman or Batman or Spider-Man, their frame of reference is like, depending on their age, the whatever cartoon show that they grew up with on TV and the movies.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to go a bit deeper to talk about the comics. And I think that's why, like, in some ways, yes, it is definitely a comeback. But in that general audience sense, I think I have a harder time applying that to IDW Sonic.
Think about it like this, and then I'll let it go. But
okay.
I feel like I've got you on the verge of understanding what if it had been Archie Sonic that had been continuing through to movie 1, the general audience read on Sonic comics is like weird. This is the weirdo corner.
Mm-hmm.
IDW Sonic is not that. It's definitely not nearly as weird. It's like, you could say it's a little less fun because of that, but it just straight up is more recognizable to the game player as being of the games and using the game elements than Archie frequently was. Although, ironically, of course, at the end, Archie was literally adapting the classic games. But
yeah.
But I just think it goes towards like this thing of like the brand kind of like rebuilding itself and like shoring up its walls and defenses. I mean, like the comics are going to be an entry point that it's not going to be issue 231 of an ongoing narrative that's never really been rebooted and has all this lore and history. It's going to be something that's you can catch up in a couple of volumes, now a handful of volumes, but it's going to be at any point the Sonic cast and characters generally that you recognize from the games. Although at this point there are plenty of IDW exclusive characters or characters that started in IDW.
Yeah.
But the point I want to make really is just that IDW Sonic is part of an overall resurgence that begins with Sonic Mania, I think continues with IDW, certainly crescendos with movie 1.
Yes.
And then the question is Sonic Frontiers, comeback or faker back in 2022, which also is the year of movie 2.
True. I would say I would apply the term comeback to Frontiers. I think in terms of 3D Sonic, general audience, the reviews, they were there. I know we mentioned last week it's sort of been dinged with the Switch 2 release, but we're talking about at the time and the support behind it, the sales of the game, even its success in Japan, which Sonic had not seen that sort of success by itself since Sonic Adventure in Japan. Sonic Adventure did relatively well in Japan, but otherwise the best-selling game were the Olympic Games because Mario.
Right.
But yeah, here, Japan cared. It sold well in the West. It was a lot of goodwill. I got to give Frontiers the comeback.
I think you're right. I think this is a game that helps to move the needle with the normies of like, oh, this is what Sonic is. This makes sense. It's going fast and it's sort of like Zelda and it's sort of like Mario.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of its own thing. Sonic Movie 2 is the same year.
Yes.
It incorporates more game elements into the narrative. Does that make it a comeback or is it a faker back because half the movie isn't about Sonic or the game elements?
If we're only using those two terms, I would still call it a comeback, but I would have it more along the lines of when we started this, it was like, oh, there's Sonic 1 and then Sonic 2 and then Sonic 3. And it was just an escalation of it's good, it's good, it's good.
That's what this is.
Right. And to me, that is where we are now.
Yeah.
Movie 1, Frontiers, Movie 2. And I guess, starting with Mania, Forces being the hiccup in all of it.
Yeah.
But Mania to
Exceptionally
IDW,
personal.
right? To the movies, to Frontiers, to Movie 2.
Superstars, Movie 3, Sonic X Shadow Generations, all up, right?
Yeah. Even if Shadow Generations didn't sell as many copies as Frontiers, it still reviews well, it's still appreciated, and for some people, they could consider it a spin-off because, it's focusing on Shadow. But the success of Movie 3 and the status of Shadow as a character, it's hard to argue any of those things. Yeah, I just say it's all going up and up, and why not?
And why not? And we're in sort of a lull period, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just like 2024 was Sonic X Shadow Generations.
Mhm.
2025 was Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. We're in 2026 now, and no new announcements yet. So we're waiting for the next big comeback of when Frontiers 2 or whatever that, or Superstars 2 or whatever that next thing is.
Yes.
We will be waiting. We will be here.
Right. Movie 4, Frontiers 2, whatever that is.
Yeah. What season will we be on?
7 of 9. That's right. Because we're just getting started, baby.
Yahoo!
Right. What is the opposite of baby? Old? We're just getting started.
Geezer.
Yeah, I like that. Oh, but you know what? We're not just getting started with this episode of Sonic Weekly. In fact, we've reached the end of it. You can tell by the music that you're hearing in the background. Hey, but if you've gotten this far, you've enjoyed it. If this is your first episode and you're really curious to hear more Bo, I would suggest to you to subscribe to this podcast using your podcatcher of choice, be it Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or for the Android faithful, Podcast Addict. Give us a rating, give us a review, however it works in whatever podcatcher you're using. But if you reject all podcatchers, don't blame you if you do. We're also on YouTube at Sonic-Weekly. You can like, comment, subscribe, and our voices are joined as always by gameplay footage recorded by friend of the show, Jack of Old Games. Whoa, so much Sonic Weekly at your fingertips. We got 5 seasons of a back catalog you can go through. You could see what we thought when this was all new. Well, not Sonic. We weren't recording this back in 91. That would have been a feat. Hey, you want to reach out to the show? SonicWeeklyPodcast at gmail.com. Drop us a line. Let us know what you think. You got a topic you want us to talk about? You have some thoughts about what we've already talked about? We want to hear it all. Don't stop. Or you can just shout at us over on Blue Sky at Sonic Weekly. That whatever, bluesky.hey. That's the handle. You can find it. It's the same logo.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Hey. But if you're able to help support the show financially, we're also over on Ko-fi. We're just Sonic Weekly over there. Drop something in that old tip jar, or for $5 a month, you become one of our executive producers, just like Belgarion, PigDan, Pabsy, SavingThrows, Rat, Liker, 63, Dr. Hey PhD, Sertoo, Butterbeerhawk, OverthinkingMovies, Nate, aka CanonWoof, and Ashman 792. And as I'm required by law to state, you are all exceptionally smart, talented, and we all think you're really keen.
Oh, yeah.
But if you're not able to, that's perfectly fine. We're just happy that you're here. And hey,
Yes.
tell your buddies. They're all welcome.
You better.
Gonna thank Altsynth for the edit. Gonna thank Smoovies for the Rings of Saturn jingle. Gonna thank Bo for doing what he needed to do. And Grant, I'm gonna thank you. Because right now, the sun is setting, like truly like the song. The sun is set. You're sitting, someone in the dark, maybe by candlelight. You're feeling it. Maybe you're holding a bottle of wine, a vintage 54. Because I just want to thank you for being here, for being stylish, and for being the 9th member of the Beach Boys.
Thank you, David. We love you. Bye-bye.